FanDuel TV's Kentucky Derby Week coverage is presented by Spendthrift Farm.
Welcome back to Churchill Downs as we bid you a fond good morning here on Breakfast at the Derby. I know it's early, but we're out here looking for a shot of bourbon. Denon bourbon, that is, as the Japanese runner will be on track today. We'll have all the news fit to print, or broadcast, that is, as the crowd has assembled. The Japanese runners still causing us to scratch our heads. How do we measure up? Well, no one thus far has measured up to Denon Bourbon, but this will be his first try in the States in the 152nd run for the Roses. He'll be taking on the likes of Renegade. The morning line favorite will be out for his usual gallop today. We'll try to catch up with Todd Pletcher as well, as Renegade from post one, most likely to go off as the shortest price in this year's Kentucky Derby. Unless further ado, garner some more attention, as the Bluegrass Stakes winner will be out this morning as well. We'll have a video of his gallop. We'll analyze what he has done, what is yet to do, as Brad Cox's charge here with that outside draw, 6-1. You may or may not get that come Derby day. It's Breakfast at the Derby. Get your coffee, roll up on the backstretch, say hi to Bob, say hi to Todd. Gentlemen, you're on candid camera. Bill Mott, all business aboard the pony. I'll be on set with his former assistant, Simon Bray. It's Breakfast at the Kentucky Derby. Morning, everybody. Welcome back to Breakfast at the Derby. The countdown is on as we inch closer to the 152nd run for the Roses. Mike Joyce, Simon Bray, Joe Talamo on set here in the First Turn Club. But all the hard work is done. At this point, we're in the bubble wrap phase. We're seeing some gallops, we're seeing some jogs, but all the serious breezes are in the books, and now it's just get them to the gate.
A little bit of gate schooling, a little bit of paddock schooling. I think the most remarkable thing this morning, if you look behind us, how great this racetrack looks, Joe. We had so much rain, an absolute downpour last night. Hats off to the Churchill Downs track crew here. I'm assuming it was sealed overnight where they put a hard seal on it, and it rained so hard that it almost just bounced right off the track. It's like landing on concrete and just draining off the racetrack.
I mean, I can't emphasize what a phenomenal job the maintenance crew did with this track. I thought for sure when we walked in this morning, it was going to be a sloppy or muddy racetrack, but because we had so much rain in the overnight hours, but it looks absolutely phenomenal. And to your point, Simon, I'm sure they had a really good seal on it so that when the rain does come, it just slides right off, and they're able to scratch the surface and harrow it.
The Kentucky Derby coming up this Saturday. It's always the first Saturday in May. I think all of us kind of in disbelief that we're already marching to the end of April here. This is what the field looks like. 4-1 on Renegade, the morning line favorite. Sensationally talented Arkansas Derby winner. Arad Ortiz rode each of the top 4 wagering selections in their most recent prep. He opts for the Todd Pletcher runner in the Silks of Mike Rapoli.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, the decisions he had to go through. Ended up on Renegade. It's so unfortunate that he did draw to one hole, but he is a horse that is going to be coming from behind regardless, so just needs to work out that trip from the one post.
Now, you guys were talking about the weather last night. Simon, I know this is one of your favorite parts of the show, the weather. I'll let you take it away here, but here's what we're looking for in the next 5 days.
Yeah, a little more precipitation, especially Wednesday into Thursday. And like last night, you know, the rain is scheduled to come overnight in the overnight hours, which helps a lot. You don't want it raining during racing when the track is open. If it comes during the overnight hours, it gives the track crew a chance to seal it. So, yeah, big weather guy. It's back from those training days. When you're a trainer, you're a half weatherman, too.
I know, but 5-day forecast is pushing it. I look at 3 days. 5 is, you look at 10 days, man. Come on.
Yeah. Well, you work horses every 5 to 6 days, so you got to get that long-range view out.
Well, especially here in Kentucky, the weather can change in hours.
Yeah. Right. If you don't like the weather in Kentucky, just wait 10 minutes.
Yeah. Or 5.
Let's take a look at our reporters as we have an entire crew that is canvassing the backstretch, trying to get all the information as we lead up to the Kentucky Derby. Caton Bradar, Andy Biancone. But we first start with Scott Hazelton.
And Michael, we first started over at barn 17, where Dan and Bourbon and Wonder Dean are stabled in that quarantine barn. They came out a little bit early and went onto the track. In fact, they're on the track right now, even though the John Deere tractors are harrying the track for this break for the Derby and Oaks horses to come out. They're back in the chute. You can't see them because they're way off in the distance, but they've been jogging and cantering and warming up for the last at least 7 minutes, and they're going to continue to stay in that spot, in that mile chute, and continue to warm up. So they're getting a good warm up. Their routine is obviously much different than what we have here in the United States. We have seen it through the years, whether it's here at the Derby or the Breeders' Cup. So they'll stay out on the track. They're obviously going to be the first ones out there when the Derby opportunity opens up for these horses to go out and work and train, I should say. And these horses are going to train. They're going to work. Dan and Bourbon is going to be working about 5 furlongs, and then Wonder Dean is going to be working 4 furlongs. So out early, cantering, jogging, warming up, and then a warm-up which will lead Caton to a couple of workouts this morning, as we're just 4 days out from the first Saturday in May.
Well, Scott, while the horses you're watching are just getting started for that Derby designated time period, the 3 horses for Brad Cox that are pointing for the Kentucky Derby are done and back at the barn. Commandment and Full Effort went early. First set, as has been the case the last few days, Commandment in particular is always a lot full of himself. So Brad puts him in the very first set when it's hopefully the quietest. After that, he sent Further Ado just a few minutes ago, and right now Further Ado's right behind me over my shoulder getting his bath. He actually was one of the last horses to be on the racetrack prior to them shutting down any training for that designated break, and then after the renovation break, the track reopening for the Derby and Oaks horses. But Further Ado going out, Brad said, when it's the quietest, he just wanted to have a clear track. He commented on how good the surface was, how tight it was despite all the rain last night, and all systems go for the trio. We'll talk to Brad in just a little bit, but right now let's check in with Andy Biancone.
Well, Caton, as the Brad Cox horses are getting their morning baths, the Todd Pletcher barn is almost ready for riders up. And today we're going to see Kentucky Derby favorite Renegade and Kentucky Oaks contender Zany train at the same time. Zany is actually going to stand in the gate today. So both of them are going to have a nice gallop. They're going to back up to the wire as they did yesterday, stand, gallop around, and then Zany, after her gallop, will back all the way up to the 3/4 chute and stand in the gate that they have there. But Renegade was on the bridle yesterday, and that was because there's a lot going on. Apparently, Nora McCormack said as she was backing up, the kids on the rail were going, Renegade! And they got him all excited. So we did see him get a bit keen yesterday. It'll be interesting to see how he reacts today, but I'm very excited to see both Zany and Renegade hit the track at the same time today, Michael.
He thinks those kids are loud. Wait till there's 180,000 people in the grandstand. That'll wake you up a little bit. At any rate, you can see the tractors right behind us as the renovation takes place. Immediately after the renovation, we're going to see that time exclusively for Derby and Oaks contenders. But Further Ado was on the track prior to the break as he was stretching his legs this morning.
Yeah, and they made a good point earlier. Caton was saying that he could get a little strung up, so Brad wants to bring him out a little bit earlier. For the most part, the earlier the better, with not that many horses being on the racetrack when it first opens up.
And there's a look at Further Ado. This was, once again, not that long ago, but prior to the renovation break and prior to that exclusive Derby and Oaks training period. But just out there on the track, as we can see.
Yeah, he's going to break off and just gallop here. And, I mean, he's just a pretty individual, that's for sure. Very good-looking horse, very light, very athletic.
I was going to say, so light on his feet. It's almost like he
it's like a metronome. When he bounces off the track, it's like a metronome. I mean, he's so synchronous. It's unbelievable.
I mean, you can see where that talent comes from, where those bursts of speed comes from. His closing kick is quite impressive. I mean, the final 3/16 of this race, it always is exciting in the Kentucky Derby, but you think about the ability some of these horses have to come home. Him, Renegade, Incredible. I mean, these are horses that can motor late. Chief Wallaby.
And I think with his style, too, the 18 post is absolutely ideal. With horses, let the speed go. I think Johnny Velasquez could get in a nice stalking spot because he's a horse, too. He will put himself in the race early on, not necessarily on the lead. So I think that 18 post is absolutely ideal for him.
And look at his ears, Joe.
They're perfect, straight up, Mike. Nice and happy.
Further ado, the more I look at this race, the more I'm hopeful that I can get 6-1 at post time. I don't know that I will. But I just feel like, boy, his best race is the best race anyone's shown out there.
Yeah.
He's done it twice. And I know everyone says it's a Keeneland, but
I think there is something to that. I mean, you see, I think over the years we've seen a lot of horses win at Keeneland coming in the Derby. That, you know, the track's a little quicker. They win by open lengths. But nonetheless,
He passed the eye test.
He did, and he's, like you said, he's so light on his feet. His 4 feet hit the ground for about a 1/10 of a second. I mean, he just bounces off it. It's like a spring.
right now, standing by live with Brad Cox is Kate and Bradar.
Well, Brad, the early bird gets the worm. Is that the philosophy?
I guess. It's just worked out well. Most of the year, these horses have trained early and kind of keep some of the pressure off of them. I like to get on a fresh track with the first two we train with Further Ado and not Further Ado, Full Effort and Commandment. And I like to get Further Ado on a quiet track. It gives them an opportunity to, warm up in the chute and come out and get on a nice quiet track.
But Further Ado is the type, it looks like mentally, that he's going to kind of be himself no matter what, whereas Commandment looks a little bit more of a handful.
Yeah, but when they train, Commandment's a little bit easier to train, and then Further Ado jumps on it and can kind of sometimes want to do a little too much. I thought the gallop this morning was really, really good. First day back, post-work galloping, and I thought he was moving fantastic. What
are you seeing in Further Ado, particularly as far as his effort in Keeneland being such a big race? There's always the concern that maybe it takes a little bit of the starch out of him. Yeah, for sure. And we won't know till Saturday evening. But at the end of the day, we're super pleased with what we've seen from him since. And, all we can do is prepare him to the best of our ability and watch him. And we're pleased with where we are with him. How big of an advantage, if any, is it that he has run and won here at Churchill? It's not a disadvantage. So, I think it's worth something. I don't know if it obviously doesn't get you right to the winner's circle, but yeah, it's nice that they have some experience here, and Commandment as well. He broke his maiden here last fall, so that's a positive. With Commandment, what are you seeing in him that says he's maintaining and perhaps getting even better? Just his attitude. When he's backing up in his jogs, he's wanting to break into a gallop, and he's happy, very happy actually. Katie does a good job galloping him, and she said he's as good as he's been, and moving well over the track, and excited about Saturday with him. Now, I know Full Effort, it's not the first time he's been on the dirt. He's trained on the dirt before he ran so well at Turfway on the synthetic surface, but he looks like he enjoys this surface. Yeah, he does, and his last two works have been phenomenal, and if he had worked like that last year, I never would have started him on the turf. So there you go. but look, he's older. He's improved. He's a bigger, stronger version of himself. That's what these horses are supposed to do, is improve with time and age, and he has. And his works are phenomenal. If his works translate to the afternoon, we'll be in good shape. Obviously, he's got to get a trip, and he doesn't have a tremendous amount of speed early, but he should be running late. Next few days, what's the plan? I would like to stand in the gate tomorrow. It looks like we're going to get hit with some rain tonight, so we'll just kind of watch the racetrack. The track was really good this morning considering the amount of rain we got last night, so we'll just kind of watch the racetrack and come up, play it by ear. All right. Well, we appreciate your time. We'll keep watching them going forward, and if it all works out for Full Effort, it wouldn't be the first really good horse that you started on the turf. I kind of reminiscent of Monomoy Girl and some of the others. Yeah, for sure. And sometimes that comes down to just how they are out of the gate and stuff, and allowing them to get in the race. But we're hoping he can, pick off some great ones on the dirt at some point. Thank you. Thank you.
So if you're handicapping the trainer, who do you think he sounded most excited about there?
I don't know. Sounds like full effort.
Right?
Kind of like,
Yeah.
And look, of all three of his horses, full effort, time-wise at least, it has worked the best with those 259 flats.
Yeah, and you heard what he said. Look, if he had worked like this last year, I wouldn't have started him on the turf. And I think sometimes, you know, horses early on in their career, especially late development, they don't work well on the turf. He mentioned other horses that are not well out of the gate, you start them on the grass, temporary, because if they walk slow out of the gate, you're going to get nothing out of it. So this horse now has had 7 starts. So he's now a racehorse. Breaking out of the gate is not an issue. So now he's figured it out. And like I said, he's bred, whatever he's done today, he's bred to move up on the dirt.
Yes.
He's bred to be better than what he's shown.
Let me ask you about that post 20, because the kickback is a concern for him. So if you're piloting him out there, is that a good or a bad spot for him to be in as far as dealing with the amount of dirt getting thrown back in his face?
I mean, I think it's a catch-22 because, yes, on the 20 post, you could stay outside and not get dirt, but at what part are you going to stay outside? Are you going to be 7 wide, 8 wide to not get dirt? So, I mean, at some point, you are going to have to come over and tuck in at some point, and he doesn't have enough speed to lay, you know, right off the pace 3rd or 4th.
Real quick, he was wearing those draw reins there. That's that equipment that keeps the horse's head bowed, what we're talking about. Makes him look very impressive.
There's Emerging Market making his way to the racetrack. Let's get back to Kate.
Guys, Emerging Market is going to do a routine gallop, 1.5 miles. Chad just walked up next to him, and I have to say, this is the horse that has impressed me as far as his consistency. Every single day, he comes to the track, he does his thing. You wouldn't know he's a horse who has only made 2 starts lifetime. He carries himself like a more mature horse who's been here very often, unfazed by the crowd. You can see him kind of taken in the camera. He checks things out, but he really doesn't turn a hair. And he's just like that out on the racetrack, too. I'm very eager to see him in his galloping and hoping this continues going forward because he's a little sneaky here. Beautiful stride as well. And he's done this every single day he's been here.
Yeah, he's got a great mind, Mike. And I think that's the thing. We talk about Chad, how conservative he is. You know, years past, you look at this, maybe he elects to go to the Preakness. I think the difference maker between him coming here and bypassing this race is the mental fortitude of this horse. He's kind of touched on it like he's got a great mind. And I think when you bring a horse in that's lightly raced and he's got the mental capacity, as Caton's just referenced there and what he's done, I think that would be the difference maker. I mean, sometimes you bring a young horse in that's a little mentally fragile with only 2 starts, it's probably not going to end up well, but he is just, I mean, he acts like he's been there before, and he's only had two efforts in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that workout here 4 days ago, too, was really, really good.
Oh, it's Pavlovian on the right. I was told it was Great White. I was going to say Land Shark. That's why I was knocking on the door. My jokes. Yeah, well, both of you did. At any rate, that's Pavlovian on the right there, coming out to the track for Team O'Neill.
The winner of the Louisiana Derby on the left,
yeah,
and the runner-up beating
Silent
That's
Tactic.
Doug.
Yep. There's Doug and that's Silent Tactic in the foreground. In the background there, facing us, that's Pavlovian. There's
Doug O'Neill.
Doug O'Neill.
Why not us?
Coffee in hand.
Hey, hey, hey. Brother.
Shake and bake.
2 Oaks runners in the front, too.
Yeah, the obscured is the saddle towel. And you know what? I'm not good enough at this job to be able to recognize horses. Andy doesn't need a saddle towel or a program. She knows who they are.
We got a cheat sheet over here.
Even with that, come on. I mean, they're all brown, except for the gray ones.
Here's the thing I have. I mean, what do you do with the Louisiana? Like, I really like Emerging Market. I mean, he looks the part. He's got all the attributes. But then I go back and I'm like, I don't know how strong Pavlovian is, you know.
I think the Louisiana route and the Wood Memorial route probably the weakest of all the preps, you know. But saying that, I mean, Emerging Market, that was only his 2nd start, and it's not like he went through every prep race in New Orleans.
Well, and let's be fair. I think Pavlovian proved to be a lot better than we thought he was in the Louisiana Derby. And Golden Tempo had been pretty consistent on the Louisiana Trail throughout, and it was Emerging Market with 1 start under his belt who comes in from out of town that gets the job done. I think this was a decent race. I mean, they went, you know, fast enough, 155 flat. It wasn't a slow race. I think you just had a lifetime performance from Pavlovian and Emerging Market. Not only was he in front of the wire, but in the gallop out, the next 16th, he pulled away by a length or 2.
Which is huge, too. And I think fitness-wise, that race was good for him, too, because that was a mile and 3/16, one of the furthest prep races. Most of them, the race before the Derby, are a mile and an eighth. So I definitely think that helped him. And that first race at Tampa was 2 turns, going a mile and 40. It's not like he broke his maiden going 3/4,
Right.
and then second race is only 2 turns. He's got some bottom to him.
But the concern with Emerging Market, if I'm reading this right, Simon, it's not the 2 starts. It's how tough was the prep race.
Yeah, which I'm not too worried about because he's had plenty of time, you know. But I see where you.
No, not like how tough the effort was.
How tough the
competition
yes,
was.
Correct. Yeah, because you look at the 2 horses behind him, right? Pavlova and Golden Tempo.
Are either one of them a contender in the Derby?
Go look at their form.
They're both 30-1.
Go look at Pavlova's form. He's
Yeah.
beaten Ocean Bear in Calbred Stakes races.
Right. So that's the question. And they are coming out onto the track for the 15 minutes where it's just Derby and Oaks horses allowed. So Emerging Market, he's one of the more interesting horses. I wonder what the wagering public does with him. I wonder if there's a groundswell of financial support in the win pool for him. Probably not, because there's so many other options, but I'm not so sure they didn't think this horse was better than Paladin from the get-go. They knew Paladin was good because of what he did on the track, but I get the feeling that Emerging Market might have been the star of the barn when he came in as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I look, below 15-1, I think that's a little too short for me.
Yeah, I agree. 15-1 or above.
Danon Bourbon out on the track here as the Japanese puzzle. And that's the beauty of the Kentucky Derby. It's all these horses first try at a 1.25 miles. It's all these different jurisdictions meeting here in Louisville, and then they come in from overseas. We won't know if he's a forever young or if he is forever forgotten in the annals of American racing, but they haven't been able to warm him up. And there's Wonder Dean in front, these two, separated by the gray pony there.
Yeah, behaving well. They look good on the racetrack here, and as we've said all week, it's just hard to assess a form. At least you have a little bit of a better form line with Wonder Dean. He's raced a little more, and he ran against 6-speed last time out in the UAE Derby. The rider that will be riding Wonder Dean is actually the same rider that was aboard Forever Young, so he's obviously familiar.
That helps, too.
Yeah, big time.
Have a ride over Churchill Downs, especially in the Kentucky Derby with that many horses.
So what can we assess, though, other than just looking at their physicality and watching their replays? There's really no way to tell whether or not these horses are going to stack up until they get into the gate and run against them.
Yeah, and I think, since Churchill Downs has implemented this, with the European runners and the Japanese runners, they get an automatic berth if they win this race. It adds more intrigue to the race, for sure. I mean, we used to automatically just toss them out, but I don't think you can do that now with the pedigrees. And, I mean, I think what you have to look at is how they're behaving. They're behaving perfectly.
Let's go to Andy Biancone as she's standing by with one of her best friends.
Well, MJ, Renegade and his pony Buddy are making their way to the track. Zany is following behind, and all 3 of them are going to back up together to the wire, stand, go for their nice gallops, and as I said earlier, Zany will go and stand at the gate. So Buddy the pony will get her when she pulls up, and they'll walk over to the gate. Zany is going to Paddock School today at 10 o'clock, and the same system will go for Renegade tomorrow. He will go stand in the gate and then Paddock School at 10 o'clock, but for now, we can enjoy them galloping at the same time.
Just how important is the paddock schooling and the gate standing, Simon?
Very important.
It is?
Yeah, I think it's very important. The paddock schooling especially. And it makes the trainer feel better because you feel like you've taken care of something. That you got to take the variables out of it. I said all the time, you've got to eliminate the mistakes. I don't think one trainer's better than the other at that level. You've just got to eliminate mistakes and things that can go wrong as Renegade's just jogging there the wrong way. But the paddock schooling, I think, is key, especially if horses haven't run here before. You can't replicate what is going to happen on Derby Day. That's for sure, with the crowd, the people, and the walkover. So you've got to try and replicate as best you can and at least get them out there in the afternoon. Todd's going to school that horse at 10 o'clock, probably going to be quiet. Some people elect to go over during the races when there's a little more hustle and bustle. If I did that, I would have elected to go, we had racing here Sunday, so you get a chance to go back again if need be.
Is there any reason to read the body language here as he's just coming out for a jog? I mean, he looks like he's on his toes and ready to roll.
Yeah, no, he's just firing on all 4 cylinders.
Let me ask you this. What wouldn't you want to see on a morning like this for a Derby contender?
So a horse that's probably getting pretty warm, not acting right. you know, one that's not smooth in their gait at trotting, and he looks good.
Ears are perfect, Mike.
Oh, the
Joe
ears.
Yes, yeah.
That's what we wanted to hear. Renegade's going to say hi to the fans over there. It's Dawn at the Downs.
They have a pretty good crowd out here today.
Every day it's gotten a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Huge crowd out here yesterday. Today is 5-0 Tuesday for the racing. We'll have racing this afternoon. Now, who's that on the right-hand?
So happy.
So happy, yes. A beast for Mark Glatt out there galloping. A lot of action on the track here in the 7:15. At the 7:15 section of the day.
We touched on this earlier in the week, and I can't remember the reason he gallops in blinkers but doesn't race in them.
Yeah, that's
one of our
so
reporters
interesting.
touched on that, and unfortunately, can't remember why.
I think we do know why. It's because he's I don't want to say a lazy workhorse, but he doesn't do as much in the morning. And so I think it tries to get just a little bit more out of him in the morning. When race time comes, he's game, but he's a horse. Mark Glatt said he credits the horse for taking care of himself in the morning. He never does too much. Here is Denon Bourbon, and this is a little bit of a somewhere between a gallop and a breeze.
Yeah, I'll call it an open gallop. It's hard to assess. Their training methods are so different. You know, sometimes they'll work 3 or 4 days in front of a race, but very, very slowly. This horse is just opening his legs like an open gallop.
Yeah, their training style compared to American,
they don't train on an open.
It's the complete opposite.
Yeah, these training centers they have, the gallops are just long straightaways. It's amazing. They put a barcode in the saddle towel. Okay, like a barcode. It might have changed since back in the day.
I think they probably went to computer chips, but whatever.
Yeah, and then at every eighth of a mile, it triggers the clock, so they get a time rather than just like trying to guess with the stopwatch.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that is like 1978 technology.
Right. Olympic swimming, yeah.
And we're still shaking out Polaroid pictures for our win photos. As we take a look at this gallop, anything remarkable here for Denon Bourbon?
Doing his best Michael Jordan impression.
Yeah.
Now, is that the tongue tie?
No, it's just his tongue hanging out. His tongue's not tied.
They just sticking it out.
Yeah.
Just showing a little lack of respect for us. Yeah, you guys, you don't know what you're looking at. But, yeah, I mean, if you're spreading, I think you got to include this horse. If you're going through the Derby on a sequential wager, I think you got to include this horse just because it is the Derby and crazy things happen. And we have no idea. I mean, he could be right there with the best of these at the end. He could be 30 lengths out the back.
I love the way he travels over the track. I like the way he's not looking around and wondering what's going on. It's like he's been here. But if you didn't know this horse came from Japan, you just say, oh, he's out of a barn on the backside. He's here all the time.
I'm just so impressed how good the track looks from all that rain. I mean, it absolutely poured last night.
No, it was a deluge, and I'm not saying that lightly. Okay, so give it a grade here, Simon, without knowing the time of this big wide open gallop. And we asked him a little bit more as he went further around the track.
I mean, I can't give him an A+ because he's not going fast enough for me, but that's a definite B+ for me.
I think we have stars.
Oh,
stars.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago. I'll give him a 4.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 stars. Joe?
3 out of 5.
3 out of, oh, okay. All right.
He's
tough grader here.
I mean, he's just galloping. It's hard to really assess
He's
them.
probably right at 3, yeah.
Tough grader. Remind me not to take Professor Talamo's class.
I'd be a terrible teacher.
Well, you have to know something first. 20-1 on the morning line for Denon Bourbon, and there is a look at his. And you know they have to clear quarantine. They had to fly halfway across the globe. There's a lot more that the international runners have to deal with. Look at this. The grading system already up on screen. Kudos to graphics. Some talented people in that room. As we are now going to take a look at Wonder Dean. Take a look at Wonder Dean. And we saw Wonder Dean walking down on the track with Denon Bourbon. But Wonder Dean is right now just in an easy lope.
And you can see he's getting a little warm on his right shoulder there.
You know, it's kind of funny. It's cool out, but it's a little muggy.
Yeah.
It's a little humid from the rain, and I'm actually not surprised that there's a little sweat there.
A little shorter type horse, kind of a shorter neck, a little stockier. You can see a little more aggressive. He wants to do a little more, but the rider's doing a good job.
The late Wayne Lucas was big on having a long neck, right? Like that was the whole thing. It was if you put the heel of the whip in between their ears and it goes past their shoulder, no bueno. That was his philosophy.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I think he had a pretty good track record in this game picking out horses. So, but there's a look as Wonder Dean kind of works into a little bit of a gallop here.
Yeah, he's a little more aggressive than the other horse. Wouldn't you say, Joe? Ryder's got his irons a little higher there just to make sure he's not doing too much.
And again, we're 4 days out, so you don't really want to do too much. But they don't really work that fast regardless before races.
No, they're not. There was a great feature done 20 years ago about the Miho Training Center, voiced by Simon Bray and Lou. Tremendously done.
Oh, it was awful. I mean, the video footage was good, the voiceover.
He's like doing it like this. This is about as loud as it got. The Miho,
No way.
I was in a bathroom, in a hotel room, trying to do a voiceover.
At the Miho Training Center, they train uphill on wood chips.
That was like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wonder Dean, another one of the international contingents.
You can see that influence of Deep Impact, you know, that dark black coming through there. Obviously, he's a grandson of Deep Impact. Deep Impact tracing back to Sunday Silence.
Just think about the impact that Sunday Silence has had.
Foundation size, like Northern Dancer. Look at him as he just opens up here a little bit. He gets over the ground good.
Yeah, I like this.
So as of yesterday, you said of the international horses, you prefer Denon Bourbon. What about Wonder Dean, though? Has this changed your mind at all, or you still think it's probably the Japanese, the horse on the Japanese road?
And switched leads right on cue there for a horse that, like I said, hasn't been around, you know, an oval very often.
But let's go back to the crux of the problem when trying to decipher these horses in works. You were talking about the 20 very best thoroughbreds in the world, right? These are the best 3-year-olds in the world at this stage of the game. They're all going to look like $1 million out there. They're all going to be very good movers. They're all going to have great conformation.
Yeah, you're looking for things. Unfortunately, this is the one time of the week where, if you're a handicapper, you're trying to find the negative.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to go the other way. Whether we've seen horses work 44 and change for a half mile, that's an automatic task for me, pretty much. So, I mean, you're looking for things that maybe can separate horses from each other because, you know, like I said, they all look tremendous.
I think that's why this Derby's so tough. Like last year, from the work show anyway, we were able to zero in on journalism and sovereignty. They ran 1-2. It's so hard right now just to pick one horse.
Right. I think for years they've been, back to when I ran in that Derby, you have 20 horses, you could automatically toss 10 when the entries came out. So you handicap it as a field of 10. Well, I always looked at it like, take this race as if it was an allowance race at 1.25 miles on a Wednesday. You'd look through it through a totally different lens.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But now I don't think you can automatically chuck out 10 horses here. It's impossible.
We've seen, since they went to the point system, we've seen anything. We saw a 6-year run of favorites. We also saw Country House. We also saw Rich Strike. We've seen the biggest of prices. So we've seen a little bit of everything. I do think the point system has made the Derby a better race.
Yes,
overall,
I would agree with that.
Without a doubt. There's a look at Renegade. And the important thing is he's not doing anything, right? He's got the kids yelling and screaming behind him. He's just observing, taking in his environment, and he's looking around. It's going to be a different experience on Derby Day, but just to be familiar with the place and the surroundings, even if the 180,000 fans aren't here yet, it is a good thing for him to be able to just absorb.
I mean, look how well built he is.
Yeah.
What a good looking horse.
Not too heavy, not too light.
Yeah.
You know, he's got that perfect middle distance frame to him, and this is great. You know, he changed down at Palm Beach Downs, very quiet there, so you're always a little concerned when you come to a place like that, and just behaves perfectly. Yeah, it's going to be different Derby Day, but the fact he can just stand there is great.
That's nice he's standing there too, because he's going to be standing in the gate a long time. When they load
111, 212.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally going to load first, and I mean, sometimes they could stand there a long time, especially if horses, with the crowd and not wanting to walk in. It could be a while.
Yeah, Caleb Hayes, when they did that interview, he said he can be anywhere around close to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
By the time the first horse goes into the last horse.
And that's on a double load, too,
yeah.
Which that's a long time.
We're going to take a look at Renegade's gallop, and obviously he moves quite well. I don't think anybody in the field has a better 3/16 burst at the end of the race than Renegade. I think if you don't like Renegade, it has nothing to do with the way he finishes the race. You're probably worried about the draw and the trip. But when he exploded home in the Arkansas Derby, we've seen that from nobody else on this Derby trail.
Oh, I mean, we talked about that the last couple days, Mike, when we were sitting next to each other and we're like, at the half-mile pole, he's going to have to be a monster to win this race. Well, but I think he
did.
is.
But you see the difference. We just showed you Wonder Dean, how shorter neck, more short coupled, a little heavier
Yes.
compared to this. For the uninitiated, if you put these two horses side by side, a totally different look here. A more classic racehorse, middle distance racehorse. You know, a little longer through his back there, a little more daylight underneath him, and he's built for 1.25 miles.
Yeah, and clearly he's built, he's bred for 1.25 miles. His running style, he'll get 1.25 miles. The only thing that really is going to stop Renegade are the horses in front of him, whether he can get by and get a clean trip, and how it all unfolds with that post position draw. I think that's the greatest concern. I don't think anybody who bets against this horse has any question about his talent or ability to get the job done.
No, it's just trip for him. It's just going to be trip.
And I don't know how hard that trip is going to be from the inside. You would think
He's
it's
not
going
one.
to be a
He's
thing.
not one to switch leads. Exercise riders trying to.
So what does that
get
mean?
him. When they're going slow like that, sometimes they can hang on their left lead. I wouldn't read too much into that. If they're going a lot quicker, see now we finally switched.
See, they've got such a tight hold of their head that they can't get their leg over.
Oh, God.
The way to do it is if she let him out a little bit, he might have done it on his own.
But you don't want to let him out this close to the Derby. That could be a whole host of other problems. Then you
don't want to be too aggressive in yanking them over to switch their leg, because they can easily, step on themselves, pull a shoe off.
And there's a look at Renegade. So this is a horse drawn all the way to the inside, and one of the shortest prices. We go to the AE, and one of the longest prices, Ochelli. Now, this is a horse we haven't spoke much about, and I'll be honest, it's not a very remarkable horse in my mind either. It's Ochelli's number 22 on the AE. We've had a horse win off the AE, see Rich Strike. Ochelli on the track this morning. Trainer Whit Beckman.
When's the last maiden to win the Derby?
Has it ever happened?
Ever?
Exactly.
Has it ever happened? I thought that's a trick question.
No, it is. I don't know. But this horse is still a maiden. He's never won a race.
He was third in the Wood, sixth in the Virginia Derby, and sixth in the Sam F. Davis.
You got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
But this would be the most shocking upset, maybe even in the history of the Kentucky Derby. By the way, Booker's tip in 1933, and Sir Barton, the very first Triple Crown winner, broke his maiden in the Kentucky Derby.
Well,
but that was like when the Kentucky Derby, the Kentucky Derby might have been run after the Belmont. Who even knows what the dates were back in 1919?
Exactly.
Well, if you look back at some of those charts, I mean, it was a 8 to 12 horse field.
Right.
Yeah.
Too. It wasn't 20.
I think if I was training this horse, I'd be hoping not to get in and run in a maiden special weight.
They'll have a maiden special weight written for him in a couple of weeks. Don't you worry about it. If he doesn't win the Derby this weekend, I'm sure there'll be a maiden race he can get in. As Ochelli, look,
they're taking a shot.
Right.
If he gets in, they're taking a shot. And why not? To your point, I mean, there's maiden races every day.
They have a process to get in the Derby. If they get in through that process, you can criticize them zero. That's the bottom line.
He's third in the Wood Memorial. I mean, so he's made $100,000 from not winning a race. That's pretty good.
I mean, look, they paid $12,000 for him, and he has a shot to get in the Derby.
There's a look at him. Have we seen Stranger Things? I don't know that we have, but this would be an upset of epic proportions. Be the first time in 96 years.
You should never say never in horse racing, but
that's true.
I would quit my job if this horse won.
Potente for Bob Baffert. Let's take a look as he's out on the track. He is Bob Baffert's only shot in this year's Kentucky Derby. And it's wild. When he won the San Felipe, he jumped on you like, ooh, what do we got here? And just because he finished second in the Santa Anita Derby, we're thinking, well, I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. He's only making his fourth start.
Yeah, no, he is. The one concern about me is that last work in 57-4. If that took too much out, and his gallop out in 110-1. I mean, that's quick.
Because he looks. Here's the thing. Everyone will say, well, he works so fast, but he looks good. He's been eating up well. That's how you get fooled as a trainer. I've been there. I made mistakes. I've run horses back too quick because they come out of a race. They look good. You get fooled. You've got to, in a situation where a horse runs back after a race, you just got to, if you think they look good after 3 weeks, no, give them another 3. And that's the problem. He's going to look tremendous. And what it does, Mike, when you work horses that fast, it pumps him up, puts him on the bridle, and then everyone's like, oh, he's feeling good. Look at him. He's bouncing all over the place. He looks so good. And then when they come to run, they're emptied out.
But we won't know. Again, we won't know.
That's a problem.
Until race day.
Sound as a pound, though. He's come out of the work from a soundness standpoint, jogging perfectly.
Let's go to Scott Hazelton.
Well, we're back here with the two Japanese runners as they are back at barn 17 in the quarantine barn, and they're going to cool out for the next 10 or so minutes while the exercise riders stay on their back. That's their routine. That's how they go about things here in the morning, and they'll continue to cool out for the next hour or so. Yesterday when we came back here, it was about 9 o'clock when they were wrapping things up. So their routine is very long. It's very much unlike what we have here in the United States, where horses get out, they cool out, and obviously there's a lot more horses that have to be trained in most of these barns back here at Churchill Downs. So they'll continue to tack walk for the next 10 or so minutes. I hopefully get a chance to see them be bathed right here in this wash rack here at barn 17. And this barn 17 is not a very big shed row, so they are taking very quick laps around this small barn, and I think you can potentially see them over my shoulder. But we did get times on these works for Dan Bourbon and Wonder Dean. Dan Bourbon 52-4, Wonder Dean 54-3. So obviously very slow maintenance type workouts for horses that spent a very long time out on the track between 7 to 7:30, and they'll continue to cool out over the course of the next hour plus.
Scott, I think you could probably just squeeze through that gate behind you. That's not a very big gap, especially post GLP-1. At any rate.
Shot fired. I was wondering when they were going to start. Here we go.
I know, it's almost 8 o'clock. It's been a slow morning. At any rate.
That's normal, though. For those Japanese who I touched on earlier in the week, how they spend so much time out of the stall, not only after the workout, but before. They'll be out of the stall for 2.5 hours.
That's so amazing how, like, opposite it is. Because, I mean, typical here after a work or a gallop, 20 to 30 minutes, you know, give or take.
Everything's different over there. Like, their jockeys graduated high school.
Wow.
Let's check in with Kate and Bradar.
Chad Brown with always a runner out at the same time during the designated break with Emerging Market. Let's start with the filly, because I haven't heard much chatter about her at all, much like her Derby counterpart. Just 2 starts, but what has impressed you in what she's done so far that earned her the ticket here?
Yeah, so similar to the Colt in that 2 starts and a horse that we had ranked so high in our crop last summer, and obviously well documented she got sick as well. So 2 starts, you know, another undefeated horse. She's done nothing wrong. She's just galloping beautiful here. Just got to keep her on the ground. Her coming off the gap there, even galloping 1.5 miles, she's still full of herself. This is what you like to see, though. I mean, this horse is just full of energy. She's very happy and sound.
Well, as far as the energy level and just the overall behavior, I'd say it's kind of a contrast to Emerging Market, because we were commenting on how he acts like an old horse. You wouldn't know that he's only made 2 starts based on the way he stands and acts.
Yeah, I think, and you know, you're following us up for training. You got a good first hand at that. Like, nothing bothers this horse, which you love to see. Having come to the Derby with some different horses that, you know, a few of them really had a big shot. And I don't know that I ever had any problem childs over here, but certainly not a horse like this that's this calm and collected. And for only 2 starts, nothing seems to bother him.
Let's talk about his race in the Louisiana Derby. First time in stakes, 2nd start overall, and yet it looked like he was fairly push button at the end.
Yeah, he was, and he was drawn wide there, you know, 9 of 9. So it was when we drew that post there, I was quite concerned, but I already committed to run there, and it's not that he had a bad trip by any means. He had a pretty good trip, but he still had to break from the far outside. He was able to overcome it going that far in only his 2nd start. So that really gave me a lot of confidence to try something like this.
Talk a little about what you're seeing in him in his training here, particularly this morning. What you were looking for and what you saw.
Just bringing the horse in, you know, the way he's been all winter, moving really efficiently and coming back happy and just really sound, healthy horse going into the race. So he's going to do more of the same up until Saturday.
He almost looks like he pumps himself up or gets bigger when he's out on the track from the time you're just looking at him standing there to the time he's moving.
I think that's a pretty astute observation. When you have the tack off him, you look at him, you'd say, you know, he's quite a feminine-looking horse, very well-made, beautiful mover, but a bit feminine. But I'll tell you, when you put the tack on him, train him, and when he comes home, you wouldn't pinpoint him as one of the smaller horses in the field either. So that's what I like to see. Horse that when they get under attack, they get a little bigger and stronger.
Chad, is it fair to say that this is not a typical move for you to take a horse with 2 starts to the Derby?
No, it's not only not a typical move, it's not something I would advise or plan when you're drawing this out when they're 2-year-olds. But, with being a horse trainer, you got to play the hand you're dealt. And the good thing is I was entrusted with a horse with a lot of ability, very well-bred, sound, smooth horse. And, we had some interruptions, and I have great owner that's not pushing me to run at all, Mr. Klarman. So I find that not having won the race, but have come here with some good finishes, having a horse take you here. I know that's a term people use, but it's very true. The horse has to take you here. And I just feel like this horse took us here. We're not pushing him, and that gives me confidence in itself.
What will the next few days look like for him? I know there's some rain in the forecast.
We're going to school him in the paddock this afternoon during the races. So we'll kind of get that out of the way if it's not raining. And he's pretty good. I mean, he's just going to gallop 1.5 miles and around the same time with the Derby time, which I think is great that Churchill's doing. Give everybody a chance to see the horses, and just try to get him in there and avoid any problems up till Saturday.
Well, he took you here. Hopefully he takes you the rest of the way.
Well, thanks for the time.
2 for 2 for Emerging Market, and hopefully 3 for 3 after Saturday.
If he looks well fed this morning, we saw him at Jeff Ruby's last night when we were leaving. So, just FYI.
Yeah.
So everybody was at Ruby's last night. Tom Amis, Chad Brown. Who else was there?
Simon Bray.
Joaquin
Jaime.
Matt Carruthers.
I was at Texas Roadhouse.
Good job. Let's go to Andy Biancone.
MJ, thank you. Right now, behind us, we're at the Bill Mott barn. Chief Wallaby and Sovereignty getting their baths, but just wanted to make some comments on Chief Wallaby. He was an absolute bear coming off the track today, so certainly feeling very good after that impressive work the other day. We saw Bill Mott put those little cheater blinkers back on in his work, and it just seemed like he had 10 more gears with the addition of those blinkers. But I was able to be at Gulfstream Park when Chief Wallaby broke his maiden. He did beat the Puma that day, but really interesting to see how this horse has taken step forwards physically since that maiden start, since the last time I've really paid attention, seen him in person. At that time he was very comparable in size to the Puma, but now this week coming up to the Derby, I mean, this horse has really filled into his frame. He's gotten deeper everywhere. He's always had the frame of a nice horse, but was probably a little bit lighter earlier in the year, but now really developing the right way, filling into himself, and that workout really impressed me. As I said, those addition of little cheater blinkers has just kind of improved this horse. He's figured out more gears. He's been able to focus. I think Bill Mott is really kind of getting to the bottom of him with the addition of the blinkers. But as I said, he was an absolute bear coming off the track today. He was with the pony and just pushing the pony around and everything. So really fantastic job by Bill Mott and his team getting Chief Wallaby to peak at the right time.
Simon, expand on that a little bit. Some of the things she said, this horse has gotten deeper and bigger everywhere.
Yeah, they just expand. I mean, they're developing, they're like young adolescents, these horses, and they can blossom like flowers in front of your eyes. And sometimes, as a trainer, it's say you have 2 strings, you go away for 4 days to look at your other horses, you come back, and it's nice to be away because you see the change in the development. They're standing there perfectly. You can see, I mentioned this yesterday, Bill's got somebody on the offside of both horses because, again, he's eliminating risk. There's so much that could go wrong here. They're standing on concrete. If the horse moved really quickly and turned his foot, one of the shoes could spin off. You're putting water up, all over them. They could accidentally kick themselves. So, again, he's just doing, outstanding horsemanship there. Maybe, on a daily basis with other horses, you don't have the manpower to do this, but Derby week, you're going to have 2 people on the head of these horses when they're getting bathed.
Does he do that everywhere or just Derby week?
No, he'll do it with good horses and horses that won't stand properly. I mean,
It's common practice.
Yeah, but...
Maybe not universal for his barn, but common enough.
Yeah, common enough because, why come all this way and then all of a sudden,
Well, look at this shot. I mean, this could be in the history books. If Chief Wallaby wins, you have 2 Derby winners standing next to each other. And Sovereignty, the reigning horse of the year, and then his stablemate right there. And how are they built? Is it a similar look type of horse, or is one? I mean, Sovereignty's
a year older and looks a little bigger. He's blossomed a lot, so they'll finish up bathing here. They'll get a blanket on him, then they'll walk for 30 minutes and water him off like every other trainer. They'll give him sips every couple of rounds of the shed row.
Let's go to Scott Hazelton.
Well, we're back here at barn 33, the Bob Baffert barn, and we're taking a look at Explora getting her morning bath after going out and training. She went out after the set that included Bob Baffert's 2 Kentucky Derby runners in Litmus Test and Potente. And it's a filly I think that, maybe some folks have forgotten about, because she was going to be coming into the Fantasy Stakes when we were down there on Arkansas Derby weekend as the heavy favorite in that race. But as we know, being down there at Oaklawn and reported here on the network, she missed that race. She got sick. She came right here to Churchill Downs to get ready for the Oaks. So she's coming into this race off of a 2+ month layoff from her win in the Honeybee Stakes down at Oaklawn Park. And you look at her form over the course of her 7-race career, wins in seconds. That's all she's done. She's 7 for 7 in the top 2. She won the Honeybee. She won the Santa Ynez. She nearly won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, which seems like so long ago. So this is a good filly, and she's a filly for Pegram, Watson, Whiteman, Bob Baffert, Flavian Pratt, draws the rail, and she's been a pro throughout, getting an opportunity to observe this daughter of Blaine. This is Explora, going to go back into the shed row as she's winding down her morning training out here at Churchill Downs.
And she's going to be one tough customer in the Oaks. There's no two ways about it. The way she runs, she's got a lot of ability. She can sit close. She can press the pace. She's got the rail, so they're going to have to scoot her away from there early. But she's a very talented runner.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to utilize that instinct. She's got speed. She can break and maybe get a position. I would say that, they're not going to give the lead to many people. I mean, what do you do, Joe? You want to break, you come out of there. If somebody wants to go, you let them go and then maybe just work outside, right?
As a rider, especially in the one hole with speed, you want to break sharp and actually step out a couple paths without impeding the horses too much. But that way, the horses on the far outside, you make them decide. They either have to really shoot and gun to come over, or they're going to take back. And then that's why sometimes you'll end up on the lead, because nobody really wants to overuse their horse from the outside.
We're a live look here. It is a lively bunch of kids. I mean, you can hear it sounds like a daycare behind us. There's all sorts of families out here for Dawn at the Downs. Which horsemanship skill should Andy do next? Cribbing collar. Ooh, that's interesting. In the lead with 42%. Tongue tie. Hey, there's only one member of our on-air team that can do a tongue tie, and that's Joaquin. Standing bandages. I feel like we saw
combination of that yesterday.
Poultice and bandages.
Yeah,
right.
The same thing.
Hey, good morning, kids. School's overrated. I'll write you a note. Don't worry. My child could not attend elementary school today. Was out here learning who to bet on in the Kentucky Derby.
Learning colors.
Sounds like me.
Yeah.
Learning colors and numbers. It's education.
I mean, I guarantee there's at least a handful of future jockeys in that crowd out there over the next several days as we lead up to Kentucky Derby. Let's take a break. When we return, we're going to go barnstorming with Andy B.
California Chrome is pulling away. California Chrome into the final furlong. He's got a 5-length lead on his competition. It is California Chrome in front. And from the back of the pack on the outside, Commanding Curve is taken second. But California Chrome shines bright in the Kentucky Derby.
One of my favorite horses ever, California Chrome, the little Calbred that could, as Art Sherman and family celebrating there. He was the Santa Anita Derby winner. He'd rattled off a string of stakes races that started with the King Glorious at the old Hollywood Park on closing day. Forever.
I remember that. And Art Sherman, he was such a great trainer to ride for. I won many races for him. He was in Northern California for quite a long time and then came down to Southern California. He was one of those guys just always happy. Always had a smile on his face, whether in the morning, afternoon races, just so cool to be around.
And always hit at least 20%.
Yes.
And this guy was a win machine. Didn't matter where he was training. That percentage was always super high. And he was battling for training titles with Hollendorfer for years up there in Bay Meadows and Golden Gate.
I used to love seeing him and Hollendorfer next to each other at Hollywood Park. Art was so happy up there, and Jerry, maybe
so
not
uptight.
so much.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much. So happy on the racetrack. Your Santa Anita Derby winner. We bumped back with California Chrome, who won the Santa Anita Derby on way to a Kentucky Derby victory. So happy trying to do the same thing. Some say he's got a sprinter's pedigree, but the sprinter he's by did not have a sprinter's pedigree. By Run Happy, So Happy for trainer Mark Glatt. 15-1 on the morning line, but certainly a major contender. And for Mark Glatt, it's been a year as we take a closer look at this trainer from Southern California.
I'm gonna have you sit right in there.
152.
For the Kentucky Derby. You're gonna win the Kentucky Derby 152.
Wouldn't that be cool? God's will, man. It can happen.
Number 3?
Trust me, I know it can happen. At this stage of my career, I mean, the Kentucky Derby always means a lot. It's what we all want to be a part of and be in. But man, I mean, this could be it for me. I don't want to say for sure because I feel too darn good, but I mean, this could be my last Derby.
You know, every year you watch the Kentucky Derby and you dream of, you know, being there someday. And I think being there with my own horse that I train is pretty surreal.
Funny thing about So Happy is if you was to watch him just in his morning workouts, you wouldn't be that impressed. He just does enough.
They're off.
That's probably the reason he paid $47 first time out. You know, because he wasn't doing anything that was real flashy.
First time out, I said, oh, okay, he knows when to turn the switch on. Thereafter was the San Vicente.
We knew we had something special then.
So happy to win the San Vicente.
At that point, you're ready to go ahead and test the horse. So we ended up in the San Felipe. He didn't win, but I was still confident that he would improve.
The Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby is coming up next.
So Happy, can he get the mile and an 8 today? He was third in the San Felipe Stakes.
I knew that if he showed up, he'd get the mile and 8.
It's So Happy pulling away to win the Santa Anita Derby.
I mean, it's special anytime you get the opportunity to win a race like the Santa Anita Derby, but it meant a whole lot to Mark as well.
It was a bit surreal, but Dina didn't walk to the winner's circle with me, and you know, that was tough. I hadn't won a Santa Anita Derby. It was my first one, so that was, you know, very thrilling and exciting. But we were missing my wife. My wife passed away a couple months ago, and, you know, she was always by my side.
She was just a beautiful person, and we lost her way too soon, man.
It was bittersweet because she wasn't here to share my biggest career win.
So Happy puts him away late.
I called on Dina at the 8th pole. I said, oh, pick us up, man. Pick us up and get us home. And, He just took off, man. And when I pull up, that's the first thing I did. I looked to the skies and just wanted to look up there and tell her we did it, you know.
She would be very happy for me. I imagine she'd be a little stressed, but that was her. She wanted to make sure that everyone within our circle was taken care of.
She would want him to enjoy this, man. She would want him to ride this thing through its fullest, and it'll be tough on him, but he's got a chance to run extremely well.
I would take the same trip in the Kentucky Derby that he got in the Santa Anita Derby all day long. He's very rateable. He'll be where Mike wants him to be or where he can be to give him his best chance.
If we're blessed enough to pull this off, this is a movie. I mean, it has everything that would make an amazing, amazing movie. It really would.
We all have a ton of respect for Mark Glatt's horsemanship skills, but obviously a story that goes a little bit deeper when you get into the human element, when you factor in the loss of Dina, and you think after the greatest loss of his life comes the biggest victory he's ever had on the racetrack. Yeah, there is perspective there, but I think Mike Smith summed it up well. Dina would want him to enjoy this. She would want him to be taking it all in as he goes to the Derby with the Santa Anita Derby winner.
The unfortunate thing about training racehorses, there's no day off. You work a corporate job, something unforeseen like that happens to you, you get bereavement leave, you go on the sidelines for a couple of months, get to regroup, reflect, come back. He didn't have a chance to do that. You have to jump straight in. When something like that so tragically happens, and then about a month later, you're in charge of a Kentucky Derby contender. You can't go away. You have to be there. So, at some point it might come back and hit him a little harder. I mean, there wouldn't be a better story this week than if this horse got into the winner's circle.
And right now, Scott Hazelton's standing by with Mark Glatt live.
Yeah, Mark, we saw So Happy go out for his training. What did he do out there? What was the plan? What were you looking to accomplish as we're just a few days away?
Well, I want to get a nice gallop into him today with the weather kind of looking like it might not be so great tomorrow. Of course, around here you can't seem to predict things too far in advance, but he got a good 1.5 mile gallop in today. We let him pick it up on the end of it a little bit, and he was, as usual, even-keeled, happy self. So I was real pleased with what he did this morning.
Schooling, will that come into play today, tomorrow, or the days to come?
He's going to school on Thursday. He schooled in the gate yesterday. It was real good, so I think we're okay there. And we're going to school during the races on Thursday.
What's it like being back here and, just having the focus on So Happy when you're used to having a whole barn full of horses to look after? How different is it for you in this experience?
Well, it's different. You worry about what's going on at home more so, obviously, but it's been a great experience, and just looking forward to Saturday.
I know that you've stated to, I think it was Andy, as far as the training in blinkers but not running in blinkers. Remind us of what's behind that.
Well, he's still kind of a kid at heart. He's a little lackadaisical. He'll still see things. And so he just seems a bit more focused in his daily training to have some blinkers on. And so we've just kind of stuck with that because it's working.
Being back here at this barn, we've seen a lot of top Derby horses in this barn. How great is this setup to have this area for them to come out and just relax and be calm and graze if they want to?
Yeah, it's a real peaceful setting. Couldn't ask for any better accommodations. It's quiet, and like you said, you can get them outside, walk them in the grass a little bit, let them have a bite or two of grass, and let them relax a little bit.
Mark, we appreciate the time. A lot of folks rooting for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And just back to the nuts and bolts handicapping, So Happy is a horse on the improve that got the 1 1/8, has a trackable running style, and can absolutely take a step forward and be a contender.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the San Felipe probably went a little too fast and a bit of a speed duel, so I like the fact that they took him off the pace in the Santa Anita Derby. I know breeding-wise, Run Happy, you wouldn't think 2 turns, but his sire, Super Saver, won the Kentucky Derby here, and he's out of a blame mare, so I wouldn't worry about the distance.
Yeah, 1.25 miles, top and bottom. No question about it. And like you said, that race last time out impressed me the way he finished late.
Yeah, he's a nice horse. And just look at him and Potente. They just flip-flop grips, right?
Yeah.
So it was him on the lead in the San Felipe, and Potente wins. It's Potente on the lead in the Derby, and then So Happy wins. So they just took turns, beating each other.
I like the fact how he trains. He's still kind of, you have to push him along to do things, and he saves himself kind of for the races. I love that. He's not going to go out there and blitz and, 58 flat and kind of leave his race on the racetrack in the morning. I like that he still has something left.
I don't believe Mike either. He's like, well, this could be my last Derby. I'll believe that when I see it. That guy ends up in every Derby. Hall of Famer. Look, they marvel at LeBron James and what he's doing in the NBA at age 41. What Mike Smith is doing in thoroughbred racing at age 60 is just unheard of.
It's
utterly unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's in better shape than any of us. And he's, 15 years my senior?
There we are.
Hey, look at us.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, I've never heard Dawn at the Downs this loud. And it's the children, them darn kids. Look, it's a great environment, and it's actually great to prepare these horses for come Derby Day.
Yeah,
and if I'm a teacher, I'll just make this a field trip this week, every day.
If I'm a teacher, I'm calling it sick.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Standing Bandages has taken a brief lead in the poll.
Oh,
what horsemanship skill should Andy do next? Oh, now it's Cribbin Collar.
There we go.
Oh, wow. This is live action here on the old YouTube poll. We'll be back with more on Breakfast at the Derby after this. I don't know if they have the pedigree, but one of these kids is going to be a jockey someday.
Or a trainer.
Or a trainer. Jockey's more
because they're
exciting.
skipping school, Mike?
What? Look, this is how did you get into this game? You were that age coming to the racetrack thinking it was the coolest thing you ever saw.
That is a good point.
And look at you now. Well, we'll stop there. At any rate, we were in Louisiana at the fairgrounds for the Louisiana Derby. That's when Emerging Market emerged as a major contender in this year's Kentucky Derby. Let's take a look back at the final prep race in Louisiana.
The road to Kentucky through Louisiana, the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby. $1 million and 200 points for the Kentucky Derby on the line. The winner will get in, the runner-up will get in. We could see as many as 3 or 4 horses from this field make the starting gate in the Kentucky Derby.
Emerging Market is one of those fresh faces.
And Emerging Market, the number 9, Flavian Pratt, aboard for Chad Brown, broke his maiden at Tampa with a 97 buyer.
The debut was very good down at Tampa Bay Downs. I think it's a major vote of confidence from Chad Brown. You're not running here unless you you think this is a Kentucky Derby caliber horse?
They're off in the Louisiana Derby.
Emerging Market, this was his second career start in the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby, and he had a beautiful trip under Flavian Pratt.
I was a bit worried. I didn't really like the post. I could have been hang wide, but luckily I was able to drop in a bit and get a cover. And after that, I thought I was traveling first class. We turned for home. I thought I was going easy. And that horse inside fought back. He took the lead, and my horse was good enough and, had enough heart to get by him.
What a good trip he was having, too. They were going pretty quick, too, up front. 46-1, 110-4 for this mile and 3/16 event. Pavlovian did everything but win.
It took every inch of that mile and 3/16, but Emerging Market finally emerges as your winner of the Louisiana Derby.
Pavlovian and Emerging Market in a Louisiana Derby thriller to Emerging Market, who just rises to the moment.
Emerging Market now a perfect 2 for 2, just getting up in the shadow of the wire.
In just 2 starts, breaks his maiden, wins the Louisiana Derby.
I think he's going to even move forward off of this race with just a second start. I was pretty impressed.
Nice little trip down memory lane there, but in the immediate aftermath, we were thinking of Emerging Market as a contender. Yeah, 15-1 morning line, very lightly raced. We're wondering how tough the Louisiana Derby really was, but in 2 starts, man, he's left very few questions unanswered.
And he's a horse. He only ran a 90 buyer in the Louisiana Derby, but when he broke his maiden, he ran a 97 buyer. So he's definitely capable of a big number. Definitely going to have to improve number-wise from the Louisiana Derby. But, I mean, fitness, I don't think it's going to be a question. He broke his maiden going a mile and 40, then right back at that long distance of a mile and 3/16.
They came into the coast to run 1-2, but Golden Tempo was based there all winter long. And right now we head to Cherie DeVoe standing by with one of our reporters.
Cherie DeVoe, who got the training underway with the Golden Tempo during the designated break. You were on the pony with him, so you kind of got the close-up view. What did you see?
He's very happy. Just dealing with a little bit of cracked heels right now, so we just gave him an easy day to let those settle down. Not a big deal, but he's training great. He's happy. He's moving wonderfully out there, so I'm really pleased with him.
So for those who might not be familiar with cracked heels, what could you liken it to for a person? Almost like a torn cuticle, sort of?
Yes, exactly. It's just a little abrasion. They're not bad, but they're funny. They can be persistent, and it's just, when they gallop, sometimes it will aggravate them, and that's what happened yesterday. And, you just got to make sure they're nice and quiet. And, it's, again, not a big deal, but it's just one of those, just want to make sure he's as comfortable as he can be for the big day.
Yeah, one more detail and thing to think about going forward. With that in mind, what will the rest of the time be like? What will he do? Do you just wait and adjust according to how things are going?
Yeah, we just wait in the morning and we'll see how he is. And, he's a horse that he's fit. All the work is done. So, we'll see how he's doing. Ideally, it is to gallop him, which he will likely get in. But, just today we just figured give him one day, just an easier day. And he's moving great. He's jogging up great, all of that. But if you don't and it progresses, that's when you have a lot of problems.
We noticed you chatting on the track with Bob Baffert. Were you swapping war stories, or is he talking a little about the Derby, or what was going on?
I was actually trying to get a side bet with him on Englishman and his horse in the Pat Day Mile. So excited for all races. That's going to be a really good one. So I was actually trying to coax him into a bet, and he wouldn't do it. So.
Always a good sign when the trainers are doing side bets or chatting and joking. So hopefully we keep that lightheartedness going forward.
Exactly.
Thanks, Cherie.
Ooh, little side action there.
I'm just looking. I know I'm betting Englishman.
Yeah, seriously.
She's talking about the cracked heels, though. It's a minor issue. Don't worry about it. It's, when you mention something like that during this week, alarm bells start going off. What cracked heels are, they can be aggravating and persistent. So if you imagine this is the horse's leg and the horse's hoof, right behind the bottom of the leg, there's a little fold right above the 2 frogs of the the horse's foot, and there's a little fold, a crease of skin. And what happens if that gets cracked and gets open? It's like you having a split here where it's moving all the time. And the problem is when you go out to the track, you think of that horse, all that grit and sand and dirt is going in there, and every time the horse flexes his hoof like that, it's just rubbing. It's like abrasive sandpaper on there. So the idea is not the wet track really makes them bad too. The idea is not to get them infected. So you can put Vaseline over them when they go out to kind of protect it. You know, there's not much you can do, and then you can wrap them up in the stool and try just to get that crease that's cracked to heal over. You got to expose it to air as well. Otherwise, if you just keep it moist, it'll never harden up and seal over. So it's a bug. It's just a problem that can bug and get worse. But it's usually you can manage. It's manageable, and usually you can get away with it.
That does not sound fun.
But will it affect the horse in the race, though?
No. I mean, it can if they get infected and it starts affecting their gait and the way they move. Absolutely. I mean, you can soak their feet. But, you know, horses live with it day in, day out. I mean, it's not a problem. They can train with it, no problem.
All right. Side bet with Englishman. Okay. I think I found it.
Yeah, I think I found a
race
single. Is that? The
Pat Day?
Pat Day?
Yeah, I think.
Race 8?
Race 8?
Is Englishman all our single? Let's it starts the 3-year-old pick 3, don't forget, the Pat Day mile.
That's right.
Let's go to Andy Biancone.
Well, our Battaglia winner, Great White, needs a scratch to get into the Kentucky Derby for John Ennis. But, John, he has been an absolute handful the past couple of days. Compare his energy levels coming into potentially the Kentucky Derby versus how he was at Keeneland.
Yeah, now he's, as you can see, he's very strong, very fresh, full of himself, the way I can want him. He looks physically stronger this week prior to this Saturday, prior to coming into the Bluegrass. The Bluegrass, he was kind of flat. We kind of breezed him 6 days before the Bluegrass. I just think it took the edge off him. I could never get him where I was happy going into Bluegrass. He was kind of flat, and I tried to freshen him up all week, and he still was flat. And Alex, after the race, said he just was flat throughout. So this week we kind of took a different approach, and we breezed him last week. He's doing like he was going into Battaglia, so I'm very happy.
And normally you take him out for grass, but I noticed he's walking in the barn today.
Yeah, we jogged him today because he's going to Paddock school here later in race 2. So I tried him for grass, and he had to come back in swiftly because he's too big to be getting loose, and he was giving me the impression that he was going to get loose. So I didn't want to be chasing him around Churchill Downs.
You said that you worked him 6 days out before the Bluegrass. How many days out would his last work be to Derby Day?
Well, he ran a breeze last Wednesday at the training centre, an easy kind of half mile and a gallop out, but it was super smooth, super kind of was slow. Horse is real fit, so I just want to. He's telling me now he wants to breeze and do something more, so I'm just going to keep a lid on him till Saturday. But this is the way this size of a horse needs to come into a race, I believe.
You jogged him yesterday. He jogged today. He galloped yesterday?
Mile and a half, strong gallop yesterday. Came out of that really good. Jogged today because he's going to school later, so he'll have kind of plenty of movement today. And then we'll back galloping into the Derby.
Will he stand in the gate at all?
He stood this morning, stood perfect. He's an old gent, really. He's pretty smart, so everything has gone smooth. So hopefully see what happens before Saturday.
Well, John Ennis needs a defection, but he's keeping the lid on Great White until Saturday. Best of luck. He looks fantastic.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.
Have you ever seen a guy with a horse on the AE for the Derby want to get in as badly as John Ennis right now? He really feels like he's got a live one here.
He does. He really does.
I mean, that's Derby dreaming.
I mean, you never want to wish that on anybody, but he's definitely hoping.
By Hazer last year. Right? Remember that when he was right, so they were dying to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Boy, I forgot already after a year. Let's check in once again with Kate and Bradar.
Well, Todd, with Zany for the Oaks and Renegade for the Derby, let's start with the filly. What did you do this morning, and what were you hoping for?
Just a routine 1.25 mile type gallop, which she did very well, and then we stood her at the gate, which she also was a star there, so all good.
And Renegade?
He had about a 1.25 mile gallop as well, and last couple of mornings he's been feeling good. He's pretty energetic in his gallops and seems very happy.
Todd, can you talk me through the decision to keep him in Florida until that last day?
Yeah, it was a tough call. I think when you look historically at breezing over the track here, I don't think there's any clear evidence that it necessarily gives you an advantage. horse is doing very well at Palm Beach Downs. The weather forecast looked really good for us, the last 10 days leading up to shipping here. And, the forecast here was a little dicey, maybe some rain on the days you're working on. And felt like, he trained at Palm Beach Downs and shipped to Tampa and won, and he trained at Palm Beach Downs and shipped to Oaklawn and won. So just figured we'd stick with what was working.
I feel like, though he had obviously shown talent and had run really well, it wasn't until the Arkansas Derby that he suddenly stamped himself as perhaps the favorite for the Derby and got on everybody's radar. But was that type of a race a pleasant breakout race in your mind, or was it something that you had kind of predicted all along?
We were pretty pleased with him, and I think he got on everyone's radar a little bit in the Sam Davis when he finished the way he did and came home in the last 16th and under 6. And so, we were hoping for another good effort in the Arkansas Derby, maybe another move forward, which we saw. And, I think everyone was impressed by that final 1/8 of a mile.
Going forward, if there is weather, how do you think he responds to something less than a fast track?
I hope it doesn't come to that. He doesn't have any experience in it, so you always worry about, first time getting a lot of kickback and sloppy conditions or something like that. But I think from a pedigree standpoint, he should handle it, and, he's always trained what little we have trained him on, some gallops and stuff. It doesn't seem to mind, but he's never really breezed or run on it.
Well, we will look forward to watching him the rest of the way. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, Mark, how did training go today for the 2 Oaks fillies and then your Derby horse Silent Tactic?
I was very pleased with all 3, Scott. I think they all are good. Search Party, she's moving as good as I've ever seen her. And right now we're just trying to keep counting stars in her skin because she's on top of it. And the big horse Silent Tactic, he just kind of goes and does his thing. He's always been like that. The good news is when you ask him to go, he takes off. So I thought it was a really good morning. I couldn't be more pleased.
Counting stars, has she acted like this in the past? Have you seen her this full of herself coming into some of these previous stakes races?
Knock on wood, I think she's better than ever.
What makes you say that?
Just her energy level, the way she looks, the way she's moving. We're just trying to keep her. She's full of herself. And again, the other filly is doing well too. I thought Search Party's Breeze the other day was as good as I've ever seen her go. She likes Churchill Downs. She ran well, had some trouble early in her races, and then, of course, Counting Stars won here. So we feel good about that, and now we need some luck.
Your experiences with horses that are feeling so good, like you've got a couple of days, right? You got to get them there to Friday, or her there to Friday. What do you need to do with them? I mean, you've got to obviously allow them to go out and flex some of that energy, right?
Right. I think, you want them to do something, but you don't want it to, we're now in the saving our energy mode, and we're going to, all the fitness, that's all gone. We're just trying to stay happy and trying to tweak, a little bit, but not too much. And we're good. We're very good.
Just going over to Silent Tactic for a moment to wrap it up. What have you learned from him in the progression and the battle-tested nature of his campaign down at Oaklawn Park? What do you take away from those races that you can utilize or hopefully utilize on Saturday?
I think something big, obviously I think it was the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. I think Christian asked him to go maybe a little early. We made the lead at the 8th pole. We're not going to do that on Saturday. He's going to, we got a good post. There's some speed in there. I'm hoping from the 13 we need to say, look, we need the perfect storm. We need things to go our way. Right now, our horse has to step up. And some others need to, when you look at the numbers, we need others to get in trouble, and we need to have the perfect trip. So we're going to save ground and try to make a run, and we're going to come a little late. So that's what we've learned.
Wait, and then wait some more?
Something like that.
Appreciate it.
I often tell my guys, I'm like, especially my first-time starters, I said, let them break, let them settle, come with a run. I said, you won't have any problem with the first one. The second one is so we can wait, and hopefully we come with a run.
Appreciate it, Mark.
Thank you.
another trainer that I feel like it's just a matter of time before he wins a Derby.
Yep, absolutely. Him, Steve Asmussen.
He's such a tremendous horseman, and the demeanor he has, right? I feel like a lot of horsemen, as they've got so many years behind them, you start feeling that their gut is really driving them more than just being beholden to a pattern or a thought. They go to the horse as an individual, and the older they get, sometimes the better they get.
Experience, that's it in anything, any athletic endeavor. When you get experience and miles under your belt, it makes the decision process a lot easier, I think.
Well, the people have spoken. It's cribbing collar. Cribbing collar.
Oh, okay.
Let's go barnstorming with Andy Biancone.
We're here in the Brad Cox barn. This is Brad's pony, Curly Bill. And if you notice, he's wearing a little piece of equipment just hanging out in his stall. This is known as a cribbing collar. A lot of horses wear these. Cribbing is just kind of a bad habit that some horses form in the stall, but it can actually lead to problems. You know, they suck air when they crib. They'll like grab onto something, and getting air in their gut can make them more likely to colic, which is, you know, gas in their tummy, a big tummy ache, but colic can be very problematic for horses. So a huge solution is just to add this little piece of equipment for them to wear in their stall. Basically, it just wraps around their neck, and there's this little piece here that will kind of just make it uncomfortable for them if they go to crib, but otherwise it's very comfortable and loose hanging if they're not cribbing. So, you know, we'll just put this on here, and you can see Curly Bill's got a nice fuzzy piece on the top, but I'll fix his mane so he's not got anything stuck under his bridle path. And you don't want it to be tight, just enough where it's, like I said, loose while they're hanging out. But if he were to push his head back and try to crib, if he were to try to push his head down, it would kind of be uncomfortable on him. But like I said, cribbing can be kind of problematic, can cause horses to colic, and you know, it's just not a good habit. So this encourages him to be good, and you can see it's extremely loose when he's hanging out, not a problem at all when he's eating, his head's down. But if he were to pick his head up and grab something and suck back, it obviously would be a little uncomfortable on his airway. So cribbing collars have been used for years, and just another way to keep these horses happy, healthy, and in their best form.
You know, I get the feeling that when you and I are dropping our job applications in at Starbucks, she could just transition right into training.
Yeah, absolutely. She could. And that's you know, a trait that you don't want to see. They just, what she means, you can't show it, or horse not going to do it, but they'll latch onto, you saw that crossbar across the front of the school, they'll just grab on it and suck air, and it causes colic. So a lot of people, they'll put the collar on, but they'll also put a full screen on the door, so there's nothing there for them to crib on. And it comes from boredom, usually.
Renegade wears a cribbing collar. Oh, boy. So we got to factor that in. Cribbing collar on. Oh, boy. Put it in your notes. Don't put it in your notes, everyone. That's going to do it here. But we're going to stay on for YouTube. So get on the Interhorn and type in the old HTTP www. And we will continue on the FanDuel Racing YouTube channel. And we've got Joe Talamo on the Equicizer. Can we get a shot of him before we sign off? Just a little tease. There he is.
Breaking news.
Up. Ready to go. We're going to have Joe give us an example of what to do, what not to do. We're going to take a look at Intrepido's work, and he's going to get a few minutes on that thing just in case he needs to ride one later. We'll be back on YouTube. Thank you for joining us on Breakfast at the Derby. Welcome back to the program on YouTube here. As we've got a little extra. What did they call this? It's breakfast extra? I think this is more brunch at the Derby now.
Yeah. Breakfast of the Derby Plus or extra. There we go.
Okay.
That's a better shot.
Joe Talamo, before we have you show us, we're going to see that work from Intrepido. Way too fast. Jeff Mullins didn't like it. And we're going to see how it all happened. But let's take a look at it in real time. And this was a race, this was a work that went fast, like the other fast works of that morning in Potente. At the time, we were wondering, how fast is it? He actually does look like he's motoring a bit.
Yeah, he is. So what I'm going to show you on the equicizer is Hector Barrios aboard. See the reins flopping? He's not asking him, but he's not restraining him either. That's why he was able to go. I believe it was, the official time was 45 flat, but I think some clockers had him in 44 and 4, which... I mean, some sprint races are going to go that quick on Derby Day.
Yeah, that's really fast. So now, as we see Hector Barrios in the gallop out here on the work, let's go to Joe Talamo. And Joe, let's see what the difference is. If you wanted to start with what restraining a horse would look like.
So restraining a horse is just holding them together just like this. If you looked at most of the works of all of these horses, they were just restraining them sitting back like that. I think that was the only one where you saw the reins like this, not restraining them at all, just letting him absolutely fly. Now, for the most part, you can work horses with a loose rein like this, but you have to know in your mind how quick you're going. If at any point, if you think they're going way too fast, you have to just restrain them really good, not jerk them, but just kind of lean back on them and get them to slow down.
I mean, that is basically letting the horse run loose. It's
right.
That's like not having anybody on their back. You're just sitting up there. Even on the gallop out, if you watched it, pulling up, I mean, he just let...
I think that's what Jeff was irritated about. Just reading into it is that there was no
attempt to slow him down.
Attempt to try and slow him down. It was just loose rein, just letting him clip along pretty good. Because that's even if you're 2 weeks out, 45 flat, 44 and 4 is very, very good.
Mistakes happen, Mike. You can go fast, but at least if you're trying to slow down, or there's company that comes up behind you, or you just couldn't hold the horse. I don't want to bash anybody, but there was no attempt there.
Yeah. Now, was that Hector Barrios working the horse?
Yes. Flew in to ride the horse.
So he flew in to work the horse. This is an experienced rider, a leading rider in California, a guy who's had, thousands of victories under his belt. Is there a reason? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Why would he keep the horse on a loose rein?
I mean, maybe that's... look, I've worked horses like that many a times with just a loop in a rein like this, just because they're nice and relaxed going along. I've never worked them like that, and they went 45 or 46. Most of the time, it's just...
My guess
you don't feel like they're going that quick. But I guarantee you, I bet you he's worked him quite a bit before, and he just...
Works him like that every time.
Yeah, works him like that every time. But his first time being here at Churchill Downs and the track was quick, maybe he didn't realize he was going that fast.
That's what I think. I think because even Bob Baffert got fooled with Potente. We did, sitting here. I would never have said he went that fast, and I think it was him. To put it in perspective, Ed DeRosa, he sent out this, just so everyone understands. He sent this tweet out a couple of days ago after this work. He said, for what it's worth, only 2 horses before today have worked 4 furlongs in 45 seconds or faster this century at Churchill Downs. This century, in the last 100 years. One was Kentucky Oaks winner Secret Oath in 2021. The other was Grade 2 winner Private Horde, who holds the record in 44 and 8. This is the chart that I put up, for our work show to give you some sort of perspective. Fast, 46. That's pretty quick. Slow, 52. He went 44 and change. He's off the charts. This is, as fast as anyone could go. To me, he's an automatic toss from just that. That's just too much too soon.
And especially because the training style of Jeff Mullins, he doesn't work him fast.
And he said that in his quote with the DRF. That's the other thing. Bob Baffert, he went 57. They used to go in 59. Not a big deal. Jeff Mullins, 102 guy, right?
I've worked many horses for Jeff. My first Derby, I Want Revenge, who I worked here at Churchill Downs. His works were so good leading up to it, but I think he went 47 and change. I can't remember. It was 18 years ago, but would always say 48, gallop out 101.
Yep.
And I worked for him years after that. He's never said go 46 and change 47.
I don't think any trainer in the world would say go out there and go.
No. Well, nobody said go 44, right?
No. But I think the general consensus from the Hector Barrios angle is, my guess is he got fooled. He probably came back when they told him the time. He probably had the proverbial what in his pants.
That's the thing. They are professional jockeys, and he does know what he's doing. And this isn't... he's a world-class rider, Hector Barrios. And we saw him in Southern California. We've seen him in South Florida, and he was very good there. But to see him every day in person, Simon, we really got a sense of this guy's got a great judge of pace. A great judge of pace on the turf. He could ride on the front end. He can come from off of it. He has a good clock in his head. So if this is the way the horse always works, and that's what he's feeling, and I think you're right, California, Santa Anita, big, deep track. Here, a little more glib.
I was going to say that coming from Santa Anita, where the track's a little bit deeper, what 44 or 45 felt like to him was probably mentally like a 48 at Santa Anita, just because the track was a lot quicker here versus Santa Anita.
And we all got fooled, even sitting up here watching.
I didn't think he went that quick.
No, same with Potente as well.
When we were watching him live, neither one of you was like, whoa, why are they going so fast?
And horses, as a rider, look, I've worked thousands of horses in my career. There's a big difference between working a 15-hand filly that's running in a non-2 life 25,000 and a grade 1 horse. Totally different feel. If you work them a half a mile in 48 seconds flat, she's going to feel a lot different than that grade 1 horse. So just that feel difference is absolute key.
But we saw quick times all day. So I'm with you. I think you have to make these decisions, right? I mean, all we're doing on our handicapping is trying to make the most educated guess, and you have to weigh these factors. I am going to weigh in the time of Potente's work, and I am going to weigh in the time of Intrepido's work. They may not have been as egregiously bad as a time like that would look on a normal day, because I do think the track was fast, but I don't think there's any scenario where they weren't too quick.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Even on a fast track, and even if they come out of the work really good and their energy's good, it's still going to take something out of them. I mean, think about like a hard workout at the gym, like really, really hard, and then the next morning you feel fine. If you try and do that same workout again that very next day or 2 days later, you're going to feel it.
Historically, fast works leading into the Derby don't work out outside of Bob Baffert. It's usually 48, 101. I mean, that's just the way it is.
So that was our look at Intrepido's work. And look, we talked to Intrepido's owner last night at Jeff Ruby's. I'm a huge Jeff Mullins fan, unabashedly. I think he's one of the best horsemen around. I remember him when he was training horses in Utah, and I was a kid working at Wyoming Downs when I was younger. So look, these are connections we root for, but this is a tough obstacle to overcome because of that work. As we have a few more moments left on the program, let's check in once again with Kate and Bradar.
Well, this is self-indulgent, I will admit, but as president of the board for the Backside Learning Center, I had to bring in our executive director, Sherry Stanley, to talk a little about what is truly the busiest time of the year for everyone in horse racing, but also for the crew at the Backside Learning Center. Sherry, what is it like for everybody, for the team here, and this week in particular?
Like you said, it's very busy, but it's busy in a different way. Our programs actually all start on Monday after Derby, so we get busy in a different way on Monday with the launch of our programs. But this week, we are really just taking advantage of media opportunities like this and just mulling around the backside and saying hi to people and thanking donors. We have a lot of people back here from different institutions, just individual donors, horse owners who support us. So we're just here to mingle and thank people, and also to support our clients. So our clients, obviously, we serve 100% of our client base are Backside employees and their families. So really every single horse that you can think of that's in Derby, Oaks, and all the races are, this is our client base, whether it be exercise riders, the grooms, hot walkers. So these are the people that we serve, and it's really exciting for us to cheer them on and to celebrate them, because this is kind of their time in the limelight. So they're kind of a little famous this year, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, the community does get into it, despite the fact that they're working 24/7, perhaps even more than usual because of the pressures of the Derby.
Right.
I know that we're encouraging everyone to take a portion of their, say, Derby pool. If you're successful, maybe you make a donation off your Derby winnings, but there is a lot to look forward to going forward afterwards. I also want to give a shout out to a couple owners in particular who found good karma by supporting the Backside Learning Center. I think of Brooke Smith with Sierra Leone, but Kenny McPeak's clients have been beneficiaries. We see them a lot in the Backside, and they have a rooting interest this year with the right to party. So kind of gives us extra reason to cheer for some of those people.
Right. So it's these guys that are, working behind the scenes. So I know that the groom, Chico, who was the groom for Mystic Dan, and his wife is actually the hot walker. They're involved in our family program. They take English classes with us. They're very active and just wonderful people. And so it's just exciting for them to be a part of the action, part of the success. And so we're definitely cheering them on. And then, Chad Brown, of course, he has workers in his barn that are beneficiaries of the Learning Center. Really, there's not a single barn that doesn't have at least a handful of people that participate in some way in programs with the Backside Learning Center.
Chad Brown's connection as well extends to Sierra Leone with Brooke Smith, the part owner. Sierra Leone ended up being a big contributor through the Purses for a Purpose program. If people want to donate, learn more, maybe get a backside tour when Derby season is over, what should they do?
Just reach out to us. We are all over social media. Our website's backsidellearningcenter.org. You can find our contact information there. And yeah, we do backside tours all the time, and that is the best tool that we have to create awareness about our mission. And, you know, we have, there's a dance, a tumbao thing this evening, and all proceeds of that are going to us. So there's a coffee house restaurant called Foco that's near Logan Street Market. So if you want to feel like dancing tonight, all the proceeds will be going to the Learning Center. But yeah, just anything you want to do to get involved. We're always taking volunteers, people that want to be involved on a board level. Just if you are interested in supporting our mission, we will figure out how to plug you in.
And remember, it's not just the backside here at Churchill Downs. We extend to all the tracks throughout Kentucky because of everybody moving around so much. But I think everyone here represented in the Derby has a stake in the Backside Learning Center as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much, Kate.
And a happy Derby to everybody. Remember, if you win, think about a little donation to the Backside Learning Center.
Thank you very much, Kate, and we really do appreciate all the work. Kate is tireless in her dedication to the Backside Learning Center, and there's a reason why she has been involved with that organization for as long as she has. We're almost done. We got one more segment with Andy Biancone. We're going to check in with her, and then we're gonna go to the end of the show with a little riding demonstration.
Ride it out, Joe.
Yeah, he's gonna ride us home here at Breakfast at the Derby. Andy.
Well, here on the backside, lots of horses getting mani-pedis. And when I say mani-pedis, I mean shoes getting on. And here we have a filly, just basically got her right front shoe tapped on. And you see the blacksmith here just putting on the final touches. Horses' hooves are kind of like fingernails, so they have to be trimmed, and shoes need to be replaced every 6 to 8 weeks. But this filly just got a fresh pair tacked on. She's got a nice, healthy foot. They trim the foot down, tack the shoe on, and then obviously all the nails need to be trimmed from the outside and filed down. But their feet are very much like fingernails. They grow all the time, and she's just standing perfectly, enjoying getting her foot rasped down, and she will have fresh kicks for tomorrow.
Thank you very much. A new set of Nikes as we are just about done here. Joe, let's do this. As we bring them back to the set, I want you to ride the Kentucky Derby here, okay? I'll give you a choice. Who do you want to be aboard?
Oh, that's a good one, Michael. Further ado.
Further ado. Okay, you're Further Ado. Get us from the gate here. Break from the gate. And what's the trip? How are you going to come out of there? You're going to come out of there running, or are you going to try to just...
What are you, post 18?
Sit back? You're post 18.
No, I'm going to ask him out of there.
You're going to ask him out of there? Okay, go. So now you're...
There we go.
switching them out.
Okay, now come over, shut off about 6 guys.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, I'm perfect.
Now,
3 wide.
Into the first turn?
Into the first.
Is there anybody in front of you?
Pavlovian and who else?
6 speed?
Yeah.
Watch out for the kickback. There's kickback. Watch out for the kickback. Okay.
Oh, no, I should put goggles down to show guys how we...
There we go.
Yeah. There we go.
And then, so now you're riding, and let's...
So you pull one down while you're going.
And they just go around your neck?
Okay.
All right, more kickback. I don't want to throw the microphone at you.
More kickback. You just pull it down.
And then... So now you're going into the turn, the final turn.
Going into the turn. Still got horse looking around. No one's coming.
Who's on your inside? Who's on your outside?
Renegade's trying to sneak up the rail.
Keep him locked in.
Keep him locked in.
You don't want him to get. And now you're just moving up alongside the front runners at this point.
We're turning for home. I'm still loaded.
All right.
Still loaded.
Okay.
Now, real quick, number of goggles. You got to time it to where you're left with 1 pair left, right?
So
can you finish with 0? Is there if you're in front?
I think Mike Smith on Giacomo finished with 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
So now let's get
shorten the reins, right?
I haven't done this since so.
There you go.
I can see.
So now we're going. Make sure to count your stick. You can only crack them 6 times here.
I only did it once.
All right, you still got more. You're at the 16th pole.
He's
Are you
getting
cleared
tired.
yet? Yeah.
Oh, we got it.
You got it?
There we go. Joe Talamo winning the Kentucky Derby. All right.
Fly riding a bike.
That's excellent. We're going to have more. Isaiah, the exerciser, will be back tomorrow. Joe Talamo, he's going to go get cooled off here. He's you know how they say when they come back from a gallop, wouldn't blow out a match?
Yeah.
This guy could blow out a birthday cake with 60 candles on it. At any rate.
Good. That felt good.
Yeah, I'm sure you're feeling good. Hear that, everyone?
Audition.
Hey, he's getting in shape. That does it for Breakfast at the Derby today. For Caton and Andy and Scott, Joe Talamo, and Simon Brown, Mike Joyce. We'll see you tomorrow when we're back for breakfast.